thank you for joining us again today. We are so honored to have you back with us, either for this live episode, there's many of you here, or for the recording. And again, you can find all of these archives on our website, YouTube, Vimeo, you name it. We're there. Almost, if you were to say our names out loud, we would hologram into your your space right next to you. Wouldn't that be cool? Maybe next year. Maybe next year. So today our show is the nonprofit show, Best of 2020, or as I'm going to refer to it as the Best of Show. Julia Patrick, thank you for having this platform for us. Julia remains the CEO of the American Nonprofit Academy. I'm Jarrett Ransom, Julia's nonprofit nerd, but you're a nonprofit nerd as well. She does like to claim me and hold me quite tight, but there's plenty of this nerdiness to go around. I'm also CEO of the Raven Group. Julia and I are both continued to be very honored and privileged to have the continued support of all of these companies you see right in front of you. These sponsors continue these conversations. Again, today is episode 458. So we have been 2 years strong.
48.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Almost 500 episodes strong. Thank you to our sponsors and to Julia for correcting my math. Good thing I'm not a CPA, because your part-time controller definitely does not want to hire me for that role. We are thrilled to have, again, all of these companies supporting these episodes. And again, today's topic, as we look back at 2021, many refer to this as a dumpster fire. That was also 2020. We continue to navigate forward, but we decided today that we would highlight for all of you and for ourselves really the best of 2020. And so Julie and I have created this broadcast today to do just that. So we would love to hear from you. If you are live with us today, feel free to use the Q&A. Tell us what some of these topics were for you and which episodes really stand out for you. I would love to know that, because there is a lot that we have done and covered over the year. But let's start with Hair on Fire, because Julia, I have heard you say this multiple times. And if we had someone, maybe our executive producer could do this, but literally a culmination of all of these times, yes, where you say, my hair is on fire, my hair is on fire. So what would you say was that topic that really stands out and set your hair on fire?
Cybersecurity, undoubtedly. Is it really? Is it really?
Yes.
Not for the usual reasons. I think it's because, Jarrett, I did not realize it didn't just come from one guest. It's been things that have leaked in, and it's how pervasive it is, how expensive it is, and how absolutely it's coming at us, whether we know it or not. And we think we're in the nonprofit sector. Who would hurt a nonprofit? Who would do anything bad to us? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm the same. I would have never thought that of all of our episodes this year, you and I would have the same top hair on fire topic. Cybersecurity is something I'm going to witness I've taken for granted, but our guest, Michael Nugier with Eide Bailly, really had some phenomenal statistics and resources to share with us. But what stood out the most for me, Julia, was the cost of a cybersecurity hack. If something like that were to happen, we're talking millions. We're talking, potentially shut down your organization. And Michael talked not only about the cost of that, but when it happens, how you respond to it. So
yes,
it's being more prepared for the action to take place.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something that we're going to be revisiting. Okay, for the nonprofit show, Best of 2021. Ugly cry moment.
Oh gosh.
Well, there were a few. I would say for me, Amy Schwabender from the Human Services Campus here in my own community said some things that took me to my knees, and I will witness it was so bad that I started to weep, and you had to take the rest of the show and take us out, because I was overcome with emotion.
I remember that. That was very emotional. She was very transparent with us and really had a lot of great information to share with us. One of the sobering statistics I remember that really hit me was the amount of organizations that may not make it through this pandemic being the global health virus. And I believe we had someone from the Utah Alliance of Nonprofits, and she stated, I think it was upwards of 30% across the state of Utah may not make it because, hint, hint, if you listen to yesterday's episode all about infrastructure and investing in the infrastructure, really didn't have the resources to continue their mission. So this pandemic, plural pandemics, has really made a huge impact, and that just struck me, you know.
Well, for me, and that's a good choice because, our nonprofits have held us up across this planet during this time of phenomenal duress. And so to think that these nonprofits, the very organizations that are helping our people get through such trying times, would not be able to function, would have to close their doors, was frightening. I mean, it was actually frightening. So yeah, you're right, Jared. That was a stunning thing. Okay, now this is a funky thing, but Nonprofit Show Best of 2021 third degree question.
Are these the curveballs and the,
Yeah,
all of those? Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to go first. My third degree question has definitely been the Great Resignation and how that has shifted our nation with the decline in workforce. And that has been proven in our ask and answers. We have received so many different questions as it relates to our workforce. How do we find them? How do we retain them? How do we pay them competitively? How do we reward them for the great work and for leaning in, because our nonprofit leaders truly are the glue in the fabric of our community,
Yeah.
or the thread, I should say, the thread
Oh,
in our community, fabric in our community. So that's really been eye-opening to me, is how we address the workforce that makes up the nonprofit sector. We've had Sky Mercer on that has talked about that. We've had Staffing Boutique, thank you to Katie Warnick, talking about that as well. And so that would be my final answer to the third degree question.
I would say that along those lines, I've been amazed at how the questions have changed.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so when the things, I mean, when we first got on 2 years ago, we were talking about how to get people onto Zoom meetings.
Yes.
Okay. Pretty basic. I mean, it wasn't basic at the time,
No.
but some of these things that we've been talking about and how the trajectory of the questions and the answers have changed. And I think it's been fascinating, and it's really, to me, been a clue of how socially we've been changing. Socially, our society has been so transformed by these events. And for me, that's been, sometimes when you look at what the questions are, they're far more powerful than what the answers are.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and we talk about the advancements of the questions, and we also talk about the advancements of our workforce, technology that helps our workforce continue. One of the things that we've talked about a lot from many different guests across the nation has been the advancement of our infrastructure and technology, and how that has been by far the place where most of our resources have by default gone to be able to continue our mission, fulfill our mission, meet the needs of our family, that many of us, remain at home or working remotely. So that has definitely changed. And you're right. We used to talk about, how do you hold a Zoom meeting?
And I think it's really interesting, like the aspect of how do we manage people. We had one of our viewers was very privileged to meet in public and at an event. And she came up to me and she said, I've been intrigued by how you've addressed and how people ask questions about our staff's behavior. And she said, I have been thinking, you wouldn't go walk into a meeting in the conference room and turn your back, or, which is like, if you don't turn your camera on, it's like holding a file folder in front of your face and not showing your face. She started talking to me about the things that we would do in person, IRL, in real life, should still be going forward, even though we're in a digital environment. And I thought that was just such an interesting aspect or way to look at it. And so, our behavior and our questions that we got in the beginning, really, I think were so revealing as to what the problems that we were going to have. So fascinating. Well, yeah, questions are always the best. Okay, the nonprofit show, Best of 2021, quick fix solution. Is there such a thing as a quick fix?
Gosh, I wish. Again, I wish there was this I Dream of Genie when we could just say, bling, and there is the quick fix. But I'm going to tell you, Sasha Lewis with Moves Management Consulting, she always has some, I mean, again, she makes data sexy, but she really had some great tips and tricks when it comes to fundraising, which, as you know, Julia, fundraising is truly my main core, my main passion when it comes to the sector. But Sasha shared in one particular episode, and it really hit home, talking about our 2022 annual fundraising campaign, or you could insert any year there. And she said it's already in your database. So you can pull the last 3 to 5 years, you can do a pivot chart, you can truly see your appeals, your campaigns, where the funding has come in, and start to see your return on investment. That in and of itself is your plan for next year. I think everything, my hair went on fire, everything happened in this one moment, but that is my answer to this quick fix solution, because Sasha Lewis, it really is, gosh, I don't even, she's, very wise when it comes to technology and databases. That's who she is, what she does. And I have had the privilege of seeing her in action, working truly with some records, some constituent profiles, and to see how she takes all of this, sage advice into the final result. And it is amazing. So I loved hearing that our annual plan is already in our data.
I love that. Yeah, I think that whole piece of it has been magical for me, because it's made me rethink about my decision making. I'm trying to be less charismatic and bullying in my interactions as a leader internally within my own organization, and for the organizations I serve. Being more data savvy, I think, has been a huge thing, and that's a trajectory and a retooling of my brain. I think the quick fix solution for me, it has to be a product, and that would be Boardable, Jeb Banner's Boardable, because of the board portal and that concept in managing tasks and fiduciary issues that boards do. It's substantial, but in some ways for me, it was a quick fix. It was like, get this product going, whether it's Boardable or another product, but get a board portal. And that is going to solve so many problems down the road. It won't be easy up front. I mean, it's kind of a quick fix in that you make the commitment and you get everyone on board, but ultimately it becomes a phenomenal tool.
I can't help but think about your love, and you get on your soapbox when it comes to having a board liaison. So no shocker that Boardable and this board portal is your go-to answer for this. I love that. Definitely a best of 21, having a portal, a dashboard, especially now, again, when our board members are all, they're not often coming together in one same room. In fact, I don't think I've seen or been a part of that at all over the last 2 years. It's been, shocking. And we know that many individuals have taken this time to relocate themselves. So they may serve on your board and they may no longer live in your community. So having that board portal and that true, access to information, hopefully with a board liaison,
Yeah.
such a great opportunity.
Yeah. And I love what you just said. And that is, it's the changing nature of where our leadership is physically residing. So, and it's not like everybody's just going to move back to the community that they were in. I mean, this is a major, sociological shift. So, yeah. Okay. I got to say, I love this one. The nonprofit show, Best of 2021, Jolt of Shock.
I love this image that's here for this this topic. I'm always shocked by the Giving Tuesday data. And in particular,
That's true.
Stephen Shattuck with Bloomerang, he every single year does what we've coined the Shattuck test. So he gives a nominal donation to organizations throughout a variety of the nonprofit sectors to see how they steward his gift. And this is his first time gift. And Giving Tuesday, as we know, we've had a couple of them, even more, during the global pandemic. But I also, this jolt of shock when it comes to Giving Tuesday, is the amount of donations that came in through cryptocurrency. That was a jolt of shock. So much so, and of course, we've had the Giving Block on, Alex and Pat, the two co-founders of the Giving Block. And so much so that after that episode and hearing of the cumulative donations through crypto, I have done some research and am considering that for a client of mine for next year. So really, looking at how that has added to the diversified revenue of our philanthropy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was proven on Giving Tuesday.
Right. I mean, and again, that goes back to, the specifics on data.
Yes.
Because, you could have this discussion and you could be like charismatically yay or nay and make decisions. And then it's not based in science, basically. So you're right. I think that's fascinating. I think for me, the jolt of shock for me has been Fundraising Academy's cause selling instruction to us. And, I have never been afraid to solicit funds or garner support for that. That's something that I love doing. I have no fear in going out and asking for money, but that's not enough. And I think that was my jolt of shock. And I think the thing, as I, turned 60, I looked at myself and I thought, I've been a part of so many big asks, some that worked and some that did not. And if I had been more successful with my philanthropic asks, my community would be better. And so that's a regret I have, because I know specifically multi-million-dollar asks that I wasn't able to bring home. And if I had been more educated and trained with the cause selling method, my community would have been better,
Well, it's never too late to start, right?
It's phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, that has really, that I live with that, Jarrett. I truly live with that. I think, God, back on specific moments, specific things, that I couldn't get home. I couldn't close.
Yeah. I love the call selling education as well. And we've all said it, myself, yourself, and Tony Bell, Fundraising Academy.
He has said that.
Wish we had this 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guru, and even he admits, if he, as a younger man, if he had known this,
Yeah.
And I think intuitively, you do some of these things, and when you're successful, this is what I found. When I had successful major asks, when I looked, we had done those things. We had followed the cycle. And then when we had unsuccessful asks, we hadn't been doing that, So that for me was like a personal thing that just was like, holy moly. And
Well,
also, I keep hearing, I know it's like, isn't that a great image?
love
I
it.
should have put my face on that image. Oh my gosh. Okay. The nonprofit show, best of 2021, greatest gift. I'll go first. It's the nonprofit nerd, Jarrett Ransom, joining me every day, thick or thin, on this journey. I've learned so much from you, and your questions and answers and approaches are not always mine. We don't always agree. But that has been the true gift. It's just been remarkable.
Thank you. That's very kind.
No, it's not kind. It's true, baby. It's the truth.
I appreciate it so much. I love nerding out. I love doing what we do. You came to me and said, this is going to be a 2-week endeavor. And I said, what the heck? I've got nothing else to do but just, stay in bed, fetal position.
Yeah.
And here we are 2 years strong. And my greatest gift has truly been this platform and all of the amazing leaders across the nation. I feel blessed because every single day I wake up and we perform an environmental analysis with our guest, with our viewers, because we have learned through various geographic locations what's happening in our sector. We have taught, you name it, we've talked about it, right? We've talked about programming and fundraising and board and administration and cybersecurity and our workforce. We have touched on, if not everything, just about everything within our nonprofit sector. And that has truly elevated my knowledge. I mean, I'm already a nerd, but now I'm like I don't know, nerd pro.
Yeah.
If I was an iPhone, I'm a nerd pro max. And and really just elevated my knowledge when it comes to specific areas that I am not versed in. Cybersecurity, again, I shared earlier in today's episode, I take for granted. That is not something that is really within my peripheral of concern. And I've learned so much about how cybersecurity impacts our sector. Gosh, we've had Jennifer Oliva on and many of the leaders at Your Part-Time Controller. Accounting, also not my wheelhouse. And so truly having the ability to have these high level conversations, real life, no script. That's something maybe many of you don't understand. There is no script behind these episodes. So we come on with a topic. Julie and I, are honored and extremely privileged to have these conversations and dialogue with people like Rita Sornin, right, at the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. And there's no script, thanks to our sponsors that trust and invest in us to truly open a conversation. So I, signed up for 2 weeks. Here we are 2 years, and I am the one that's benefiting from this. So thank you.
I agree. I'm so much, I have so much more gratitude and wisdom and knowledge, and it's not because of anything I've done. It's just what's come at us and just the different people. And I mean, really amazing human beings. It makes me proud of my country. Also makes me have hope for the future when I see these people doing these amazing things and really thinking about it. I mean, really, really thinking about being educated, educating themselves, educating others, writing, speaking, working at it. It's pretty amazing. If you could see what we see.
Yeah, you said something fascinating during our green room chatter, and it talks about the nonprofit champs as well. But I don't know if you could recall and maybe say it again, but you have learned and absorbed so much as opposed to giving of information, which you have. We both have, especially in our master classes. but you have received, and I'm curious if you would be willing to share that.
Well, I would say that prior to the pandemic, my life was going out and spewing out my information, pushing out my information, right? Speaking, training, you know, doing that. But what this has done is it has made me receive information, right? Because we're interviewing people. It's not just about me and my vision and me and my bully pulpit, right? And so that is what has been a transition for me in my life, is that it's reduced that charismatic, I'm going to tell you how to do it, when to do it, and why to do it. And it has made me more open to hearing new and different things. And that has been a huge value for me. But I think there's just so much information that's out there and it's changing. So that's the other thing, Jarrett, is that if I had stayed in my community doing the same thing that I'm doing, I wouldn't have grown as I have in terms of learning from all these amazing people. And some of these amazing people are what we would call our nonprofit champs. I mean, so many, far more than we could put on this slide. But some of our favorite guests and people that have really illuminated a new path, a new idea. Sometimes it's just been a reminder of things that we knew, but maybe we forgot, or we needed to be encouraged, to reassert. These have been some of them.
Yeah. Phenomenal guest. And there's so many more. And we already for next year, have so many more guests, many coming back. So we're grateful and thankful for that. And so many new voices will be heard and faces will be seen in the national live broadcast for next year. But so many great conversations. And as we said earlier in today's episode, we even see that by our Friday ask and answer questions. The questions have changed based off of where we are in current events and the happenings around the nation. And just so grateful to have all of you as our amazing viewers, or as we like to call raving fans in our staff meetings. We refer to you as our raving fans. Now, next, our Friday, we are not having our episode. So we will celebrate Friday tomorrow as Thursday. For our Ask and Answer episode. Again, thank you to Fundraising Academy. So please do join us back here tomorrow. We might be popping some bubbly. We invite you to do the same as we wrap up 2021 with our Ask and Answer questions tomorrow.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And Jarrett, you figured out something that I didn't even realize. As we move forward, and again, remind everybody where they can find us on Roku, YouTube TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Vimeo. This is a big shout out to our sponsors, because they've allowed us to do what on our very first show of 2022.
What do we do?
What is going to be the big milestone of our first episode?
450. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is episode 448. I thought that's what you're going to ask. So I pulled up the spreadsheet, but I was like, wait, what did we do? I was waiting for the shepherd's hook to take me off, screen left. Yes. So thank you to our sponsors. Our very first episode of next year will be 450. Quite a milestone. Super honored to be of service. Truly.
Yeah. So 450th episode on Monday. That just is like stunning to me. It really, really is. Well, hey, what a great year we've had. Thanks to you, all of our viewers, all of our guests, all the people that have written in, the people that have stopped me on the street, at events, and the few that I've gone to and said things or given us ideas. Wow, it has been a ride, and it will continue to be so for 2022. Nonprofit sector, we're 1.8 million organizations strong. We have a lot of work to do. Get those muscles. That's right. We need to be pumping up. But We need to be pumping up. Hey, everybody, as we like to end every day, we want to remind you to stay well so you can do well. We'll see you back here.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jarrett.
Yeah.